Hey, welcome back to Sip Happens. I am your bargain bin used bookstore host, Sean Banerjee, and with me as always,
I'm Rosie. I don't have a good comment. I wasn't prepared for that. But I'm gonna be like a fresh new book where you like have the cover and it feels really good when you like open it and make that first crease. That's me.
are we like trying to open you carefully so that we don't like crack the spine?
No.
Okay.
Who does that?
Lots of people.
Oh no, I like making I like when my books are books.
Oh, hey,
Anyways,
you know what I forgot to tell our guest is that they can mess with us because we can hear them. I like to make sure everyone knows.
Yeah. We have a guest today?
We do have a guest today. Who's our guest?
Oh, it's B. Dave Walters. I know this one.
This is one that you know?
This is the guest that I know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm super excited. This is the guest of the guests we have booked. This is the guest that I am most likely to be starstruck about.
Cool. Tell us about this guest.
Tell us about this guest. All right. B. Dave Walters, probably best known as writer and DM of the D&D A Darkened Wish, co-creator of Electropunk, Baron Victor Temple on LA by Night, as well as about a million other things. Recently teased his new project, Black Dice Society. So we're going to try to get him to slip up and tell us a little bit about that. He won't, but we're going to try.
Right.
He's making cute faces.
I can't see that. I'm watching the tech stuff to make sure it's all working. But thanks, Peter.
Hey, are we going to drink tea, though?
Oh, we are going to drink tea. We have another Dryad tea, green packet.
What?
And this one is called Dresden.
I'm going to do this again, and it never works. Let's see.
No, it doesn't work. But it says, the building was on fire, and it wasn't my fault. A smoky black tea. It was totally my fault. I'm going to be honest, probably. It's a smoky black tea with a hint of sweetness and spice. What are the ingredients of this epic-sounding tea?
I'm a huge Dresden Files fan, and I didn't read this packet beforehand, and I wasn't expecting that quote. The ingredients are black tea, ginger, lapsang souchong, catnip. Wait, catnip? And elderberries. Are we allowed to eat catnip?
Yes.
Or is that like a human food?
Yep. What does it smell like?
I
haven't smelled it yet. I opened it, but I didn't. Oh boy, I'm not gonna like this. It's nothing personal against this tea, but I can already tell it smells like a smoker, like outside, like when you smoke your meats. Yes,
I love the smell of smoke in that sense, right? Like campfire smoke or meat smoking. But
you don't like.
I don't know how I'm
camping.
gonna feel about. I don't like camping. No. I don't know how I'm gonna feel about drinking this though.
Yeah, it's gonna taste like the bottom of a shoe.
I'm excited.
We have one upcoming guest who loves this, and I'm going to save this and send it to him.
Okay, cool.
Because he has told me that this is one of his favorite flavors of lap song.
Do you want to say who it is? No, in case they cancel.
Tech Soup. He's not gonna cancel.
All right,
find him. I know where he is. I'm gonna go find him. Anyways, this is a black tea. It should be steeped for 3 to 5 minutes, and the water should be at 200 degrees. So let's get the water going. And then, oh yeah, 93 Celsius. I'm such an American.
Oh, so American.
Do we want to bring on our cool special guest?
I super do, yes.
Yeah, okay, let's get that going.
Hey, it's Peter.
Wait, important point of clarification.
I can't hear for some reason.
You still can't hear me? Yeah, check. 1 2 1 2.
Oh, this is good. This is excellent.
Important for you. I can hear you just fine, B-Dave.
You know, this is just gonna be me and you today. That's fine. We're so important point of clarification.
I think I can solve this on my side. You two continue.
What's the flavor text on that tea? It's smoky black with what was that?
A hint of sweetness and spice.
So I feel like that's written about me. That's all I'm saying. Just smoky black with a hint of sweetness and spice. That's
if I was gonna cast a new Dresden File show, I know there's been one, but a new one or a movie, you're top pick for Dresden.
We do not speak of the Dresden Files show that happened in times long past. We do not speak of it. Yeah, that's a great book. Though. I think I only read like the first 4 or 5 though. Like I by no means have read them all, but I mean I've read a few and watched enough of the show to know not to watch it.
Yeah, the show's pretty rough and doesn't really exist in the same world. But
or just shouldn't exist.
You're fairly tall, right?
I'm 6'9". Yep.
Wait,
Jesus.
what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, you're perfect for Dresden. Dresden's also a basketball player, Paul. So
that's that is a very polite thing to say, that you would stunt cast me as Harry Dresden. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, just for 6'9", which is 2.05 meters, which is freakishly gigantic. Just to give you an idea, like, I'm the door. If you look at the door in your house, my head goes to the top of the doorway, my shoulders
I'm
go to
the
the
door.
sides. I'm the door. That's it. Yeah, that's it.
right.
Door.
that's not on my run sheet for things to ask you, but I'm so glad we got there.
That's my gift to you. That was a bonus. You can keep that one.
Well, and the great thing about this is we didn't really plan, like, the way that we do, like, our teas is because we do 3 interviews per day. And so we, like, start off with the caffeinated ones and we work our way down so we can sleep. And so this was just the most caffeinated one we picked for the day. And we're like, well, we're starting with that one.
Also,
and then
like
you're
me.
like,
There it is.
like,
No,
so.
fate has decided. Well, it's funny. You said you don't usually get down with like smokiness as a flavor. I don't either. But now I still fully support this tea now. I fully 100%.
Heard it here first. Dresden Teas, Dryad Teas Dresden, as endorsed by B. Dave Walters.
There it is. I mean, it's funny because it's a good description of me. I also would not drink tea made from me. So there you go. I get it. Like, it's still very much, we're on brand here.
What
So
about
we're
the
not
first
having
line?
B. Dave Walters like tea.
No, not
That'd
currently.
be gross. Okay,
Yeah.
currently.
Mhm.
Okay,
What about
cool.
the first line, though? What about the building was on fire and it wasn't my fault? Does that also describe you?
Still very on brand. No, all of this, again, I feel like this flavor text with, like, they had a picture of me on the desk while they were writing this. Yeah, they were like, we need a single tweet that encapsulates this person, and they kind of did it. There you go. I don't know.
Right.
Is there like bourbon barrel aged tea? If there was like a hint of like Jack Daniels or something in it, I feel like we'd be there. But replacing that with smoke, maybe.
We could add our own Jack Daniels too while we sit here, and then
Done. Start
there
strong.
you go.
Yeah, get to it. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
It is. It is not
Somewhere
5 o'clock
over
here,
the.
though. I have
Somewhere
a lot
over
of
the ocean.
interviews left today to be sipping on Jack already.
Hear me out, though. Hear me out. They might actually go better if you start sipping on Jack now.
My clock says it's 6:30, so that's fine.
There you go.
My clock also says my clock is set to Australia time, and that's 6:30 in the morning. So I don't know.
Yeah.
AM, PM, whatever.
Yeah. I reject linear time and all the other lies of the before times. It's an illusion.
All right, so my water's ready. I'm dropping the tea in.
Wait, mine's almost done. I'm just using. Oh, we didn't talk about mugs. I'm just using my.
Infuser mug. I'm bringing back the classic Pizza John mug.
Nice. So, B. Dave, tell us like something you're doing. Like, just pick one thing though, because this is only about 45, 50 minutes that we talk for. So, just like one thing.
I was gonna say, first of all, how dare you? But it's true. I could ramble on indefinitely. Well, right before this, I was just on a call with Idle Champions. So we're doing Idle Champions Presents Monday nights at 4 o'clock Pacific, where which is a transmedia experience where people that play the game of Idle Champions can vote inside the game to affect the stream, and then the events of the stream will also affect the game. So that's I'm running that for C&E Games, where 2 episodes in this next Monday. Well, I don't know when you're going to hear this. Next Monday is the end of the first arc of 3, and then we'll be doing a second arc of 3. So that's one thing. There you go. That's one thing off the top.
Nice. How do you feel? How do you feel about like the audience participation? Does that how does that affect your game?
I like it. When you're talking about like just normal tabletop games, like usually like charities, there's a lot of the times you do that where it's like the audience can donate and something will happen. In general, once you introduce that mechanic, the plot goes out the window.
Yeah, I remember this one time you killed me.
I mean, it was not personal. It was just business. And the people you were in the one that was the TPK, right?
No, Diana's Skittles lived. She ascended to godhood, and my character got eaten by like some crazy thing you had, and then a dragon came and took my only friend, which was my sword or my battle axe.
I wish I would say I was sorry for any of that. I think we all know I'm not. That was for
No.
Jasper's game day, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It was a great cause. Somebody
Yeah.
donated a ton of money to make that happen. No complaints. But I do understand audience participation.
Well, but and that is true. For this game in particular, one of the things I said was, as we were just kind of trying to push the envelope to get to our goal, was I was like, the top donor can decide if they all live or if it's a TPK, and the top donor said TPK, and I'm like, kill them all, and I was like, okay, and then I did. Yeah, but with Idle Champions, to keep it a little more on the rails, it's we give them the choices. Is it going to be this or this and this or this? And I know that in advance, so I can sort of account for it over the course of the narrative. So that's been a little more sane.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Hey, what are you drinking?
Kachava protein shake.
Nice.
Kachava superfood. Yeah. So it's pretty good. So that's my breakfast, my morning routine is Kachava. I have done tea. I'm usually a coffee guy, but I find even recently I drink a lot less coffee because when I work out, I have like pre-workout and like uppers and stuff, and that stuff has so much caffeine in it that it's like that does me for the day. So if I have anything else at like 4 a.m, I'll be there like yeah. So yeah, that's although I will say a strange thing that I've realized lately. My whole life I've been drinking coffee a long time, like 30 years, and I could never do it. I could never take it black. I always had to have like cream or sugar. But like recently, like really just in like the last month, I like not only can drink it black, I've started to prefer it black, which is weird. I guess I've eased up on enough sugar in other arenas that like my brain is like, okay. Which is wild. I didn't expect that. So, yeah. But so I do not. I guess theoretically I have tea in the house, but you guys can enjoy the tea on my behalf.
I don't know that I'm going to. I have to be honest with you. I smelled it, and it does more smell like I'm licking the remnants of like a campfire ring in the before times. Not that I would have ever done that ever. But
yeah, never. If you watch somebody else do it, what did you imagine it would be like? I must say, from I saw in your face from the moment you opened it, you were trying to be polite about it, but I'm like, that's a no. That's a no. Yeah.
Yep.
If anybody at home wants to get this tea or any other dryad tea, you can use code SIPHAPPENS at checkout for 10% off.
You can, but you have to really like smoky smells.
You should buy it because it's again, it's indicative of me. Yeah,
This is true.
I had a smoky scotch because like the peat and all of that and like the measurement of that. I'm like I felt similarly. I'm like I don't need a certain percentage of dirt in my in what I'm consuming. Thanks. I'm like I'm good. Yeah. So.
My partner is on the opposite end of that scale from you. She's like, yeah, no, I just want a campfire in my mouth. I want that like peaty, smoky, like, and I'm just like, you have whatever you want. You're the only one of us that drinks, so what you want.
Again, just put just a mouthful of dirt in your mouth. Just go out in the yard and just.
She grew up on a farm. I assume that's what she was doing as a child. So I don't know what northern Wisconsin's like, but I assume it's just dirt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry to all my family.
I'm watching that face. It's a no. It's a no.
Okay, so granted, it's way too hot to really like put a mouthful in there, but like. It smells like, at this point, it smells worse than it tastes. Granted, it still kind of tastes like, if you like, you're wearing like rubber-soled shoes on like hot pavement, and then you come inside and you like take them off immediately, and there's like that kind of like burnt rubber scent, or like a tire. Sort of what I'm getting.
There's
in my mouth.
You're like, it's got a rubbery bouquet, like hints of Goodyear. You're like.
I think it smells great. It smells a lot like a strong mesquite or maybe like a smoked almond almost.
Does it?
I appreciate that he's like, please don't lose our sponsorship.
No, Sean's way worse than I am.
Good.
Oh no, usually I'm the mean one. Yeah, I'm normally like, sorry, Dryad. But I like the smell of this. I don't know if I'm gonna like the taste, but I like the smell so far.
Well, that's good. Whatever makes you happy. So tell us, B. Dave, as regular viewers of our show would know, I have yet to learn how to play Vampire the Masquerade. So tell us a little bit about your experiences with that. I know you play in DM or GM. What do you love about that mechanic, that system, the game itself?
Yeah. I've been storyteller for 1 or 2 games of Vampire. I've actually pretty much verifiably run more sessions of V5 than anyone else alive. I've run about 600 sessions of V5. Because when I was doing my Patreon, I ran about 35 games a month for 18 months. So, yep, that's how we got there. Which, for the record, do not recommend. But it was a lot of fun at the time. The thing I love about Vampire, most of all, I say, is I deploy my Vampire swag that I have. It's all within arm's reach here, of all my stuff. The thing about Vampire that I think actually makes it very easy to get into is the world of darkness is this world. It's our world. When you start D&D, I mean, fantasy's fairly ubiquitous. Everybody's seen The Lord of the Rings for the most part, or they're aware of the concept of elves and goblins and things. But, there is a learning curve to, what's Waterdeep? What's Baldur's Gate? What's Neverwinter? What's Initiative? What's Armor Class? All that stuff. With the World of Darkness, it's like, okay, no, it's right now, here, today. It's right out there. That shop on the corner is there. That the mall is there. That anything that you want to draw on in the real world is there. It's just also secretly filled with monsters that are manipulating and preying on humanity.
Just like normal life.
Just like the real world.
Real life. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've gotten to know a lot of the people that worked on the game, even in the 90s, and they're like, we created the worst world we could think of, and the actual world now is worse. And I'm like, yeah.
The real vampires are the capitalists.
Yep. Hashtag claim Ventru. Yeah, so that's the thing that I like most. And the storyteller system is far more conceptual. Like, usually I explain it to people that something like D&D is explicit. It's you can do what it says you can do. You can move this far, you can jump this high, you can lift this much weight. The storyteller system is implicit. It's more everything's difficulty based, and you can attempt almost anything. It doesn't mean you're going to succeed, but it is far more conceptual and framework of being like, I want to get up, I'm going to throw this mug of tea in the guy's face, and then when he puts his hands up, I want to kick him in the crotch and then break his neck. That there's a framework for that exists in the World of Darkness that does not exist in D&D. So it's more subtle in that respect. That's the simple answer.
Who's your go-to clan, and why is it Toreador? Yeah, no, I just want to show off my dice I never get to use. All right, listen, they're very nice.
It doesn't like zooming in on that.
True.
That's fine. If it does, it'll never focus back here.
If you hold it and you put your hand behind it, you can cheat it sometimes. The camera will be able to detect it more carefully.
I've done that, and then the focus stays over there for forever until I reset my camera.
Then when the focus won't come back, you snap your fingers by your face, and it'll find you again. It's the motion will find you. Okay. We'll see. We're gonna give it a shot. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see.
So hand behind it. So we're kind of getting the rows. We'll pull the die back towards your palm because it's zooming in on your palm. Now the little further. There we go. So we can see the rows. Okay, cool. All right.
Got
all right.
It.
Yep. Right. Although
there
it never actually really. Yeah. And there you go. But if it doesn't, that's the way to get it. Just like that. I forget. I'm like my autofocus on my camera is like, what? You're right there. What? Stop it.
You're like, I am, but am I?
Yeah. No, my beloved clan Ventru. Ventru are the business vampires. I've always represented for clan Ventru, even when we were starting LA by Night, which came about before the launch of this book. We kind of helped launch 5th edition, into its current iteration. And before that, the very first game I'd ever played on stream, I'd played at Gangrel, which is how I met Jason. And I think people thought I was going to bring that Gangrel back, but I was like, I knew even if I had like the world's most popular Gangrel in the back of my mind, I'd always wish I'd played a Ventru. And I wanted a chance to be able to like help redefine the Clan of Kings for modern era and what that means. Because I think before now, everybody just kind of had it in their mind as just Wall Street movie, like greasy stockbroker or mafioso is what it meant to be Ventrue. And I wanted to show them that there's something else is possible. So, and I will tell you, this dice box, I've told this story before. This is the very first piece of merchandise that was printed with the new Ventrue logo that exists. And I got this the day we were leaving to go to the Labyrinth of Jareth, which is a big masquerade ball here. And so I didn't want to leave it in the studio. And I was so afraid I was going to lose it. I held it in my hand the entire night. So every picture of me, I either have this in my hand or I have my hand like behind me like this thing. So you can't see that I've got it because I was so paranoid that I was going to lose it. So there you
go. Wow. I like this story.
Labyrinth of Jareth is definitely on the bucket list. Someday when things reopen and they get out to LA.
I was about to say, when life restarts, because you didn't miss it last year, but nope. Theoretically, it'll be a thing again.
Speaking of things that will be, what can you tell us about Black Dice Society? We saw that sexy teaser.
I have to be honest, I was taking a break from the internet a little bit this week because I'm on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
You did send me the link, but then B-Dave signed on, and then we started doing all this stuff. So I saw the beginning.
We broadcast this. She will have seen the teaser.
Yeah. Well, it is very vague. It is just sort of like a creepy, spooky thing that has like a bunch of names and then says Black Dice Society. So like it's neat. I'm very proud of it. I actually made that myself, so I was very proud of that. My first foray in After Effects. Yes, I am vague booking. I will say there should be a big announcement March 22nd, and there should be a stream starting April 1st, God willing, if everything goes according to plan. Yes.
Can I make a request? Now, I don't want to sound selfish, but March 22nd is my birthday, so if you could move that to like a different day so that it could just be about me and not you, that'd be cool.
What if we start about talking about you during the announcement?
Then that's fine. Right. I don't really know that that's going to work. I mean, cool. No, I'm just kidding. So March 22nd, I'll already have that booked to listen.
Right. Well, but I'm going to give you a pass to have not seen or heard anything that day because you'll be turning up that day. My birthday was just February 18th, so I get it. Yep.
Yeah, it's just a day where you get to celebrate you. Anyways, so March 22nd, and when are you launching it?
April 1st, Thursday, April 1st. So,
and if those dates have changed, we'll put it in the chat.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's well, that was one of the things. They were like, when do you want us to post this? And I'm like, I know when I think things are going to happen, but again, I reject linear time and all the other lies of the before times. So who knows, man? Who knows? I just know what the intention is. Yeah.
So for those who haven't seen it, whose names are included in this awesome teaser trailer?
Tanya DePass, Mark Meir, Nora Abraham, Sage Ryan, DJ Knight, and Becca Scott. And me, myself. Yeah. I have a youngling. I'm like, hey, are you recording? I literally have a live now blinking sign. But and she's like,
sometimes what if you just left it up by accident, like all day and forgot to turn it off?
It's fine. Hey, it's no big deal. I mean, hey, I'm glad you still want to come hang out, but yes, I'm literally doing a thing. That's why the sign's on. So that's gonna be the case of Becca Scott and then me myself. I'm being vague on purpose, but it should be quite a thing. It should be something that I think my fans in particular are going to be happy with. I think a lot of the cast is going to be something new and seeing them in ways that you are not accustomed to seeing them in and telling a kind of story that you're not going to be accustomed to. So it should be a grand old time. I'll tell you, you know what? I'll sweeten the pot. I'll tell you guys when we're done. I'll tell you what it is. Now I'll record. I'll tell you afterwards, though.
All right.
Okay, sure.
I accept that.
Recording when we say.
Wait, but we don't have a lot of content yet, Sean.
I'm like, oh no, the web captioner was still running. Dun, dun, dun,
That's actually a good note. You're going to want to make sure that the web captioner is off when you're telling things.
That is born out of a personal experience of still getting web captioned after having stopped recording something. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That
web
is
captioner sneaky.
that is an amazing cast though, and I love the diversity that we're seeing in there.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
you're known in the industry for talking about diversity and inclusion a lot.
It's true.
And thank you. I don't really have a question. Like, continue. Good work.
It's true.
Please don't
That
stop.
I got the Good Hustle Award. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, in no small part, my career exists for being very vocally critical of Wizards of the Coast in their portrayal of Chult when Tomb of Annihilation came out. And it was just sort of tone deaf. And I said it as such. I didn't perceive it as malicious even at the time. I was just like, you guys didn't talk to anybody that's not like you at any point in this, and I can tell. And to WotC's eternal credit, WotC as a company and Greg Tito in particular, they were like, you know what, you're right. And they tap people like me, Tanya DePass, Gabe James, a bunch of us. I don't mean to leave anybody out on purpose, to sort of diversify the perception of people that were working on the projects. And I think the projects are stronger for it. You've got a certain population of that are all up in arms about things changing, but my answer to that is always like, look, you do whatever you want at your table. Like, there's people running AD&D second edition at their table right now.
Yeah.
But the rest of us, like, the world's moving forward. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So
What's the best way to shut down a hater on Twitter?
Oh, it's my favorite thing to do, man. Like,
that's why I'm asking the master. Listen, I don't need tips on how to run D&D. I'm better than you with that. I need tips on Twitter.
Do you get a lot of haters, Sean?
You're about to see what it's like to deal with a hater. No, I'm joking.
See, because I made this joke and now
no, I see what you did there. I appreciate that. And my thing personally. Okay, so let me just say two things in general. One, you do not owe anyone your time, intention, emotional or mental bandwidth. You don't have to engage with people a lot of times, especially because they're bad actors, then aren't necessarily trying to have an actual exchange with you. They're actively trying to troll and actively trying to upset you. And some people, that kind of thing will really like bother them and mess with them the rest of the day. And nothing's worth that. Nothing's worth your peace of mind. It doesn't bother me though. So that's why I don't mind like getting in and mixing it up with people. The reality is almost every time I do the same thing, I come back and I make my one sassy reply and then I mute the person. Like, very few people get the benefit of being blocked by me because I don't want them to feel like they won versus just being ignored. I will tell you, like, I had an experience, like, I guess this was last summer now, which is weird how fast time passes, when we shot Pirates of Leviathan for Dimension 20. Most of the Dimension 20 community is actually on Reddit, which that's just, kind of a stronghold of their following. And so I went over there and I interacted in some of those communities, and Reddit is Reddit, and it was just like, and I was like, I don't like this, and I said a couple of things, and then it was like, no, this just isn't even worth me being here. And a handful of people contacted me privately, and were like, you know what? Hey, I apologize because I didn't realize that, when I'm saying these things, it's still human beings I'm talking about, human beings that may see and read what I'm saying, which and when that happens, because I think there are two levels of disconnect. There's the one just general haters that really are just trying to grief people. Like, I mean, that is their only intention. Like, they may or may not be real people in the sense they may or may not be bots. They may or may not be troll farms. I mean, I've, especially with some of my political stuff, I've run into both. And just for the record, the easiest way to spot a bot is if you go to their profile and there's like 6 numbers after their name and all of their posts or retweets all about the exact same topic. You're like, oh, That's a bot.
I'm not wasting my time on you. Thank you.
No, exactly. No. Yeah. So, but there's the people that are some people that are just looking to troll, just looking to grief, and then second to that, there is the odd dynamic of the streaming community, both in tabletop games and video games and everything else, is it forms this sense of kinship. That's why you tune in. It's like you watch a streamer because you want to feel like you're hanging out with that person. You watch a game because you want to feel like you're at the table. And the best ones make you feel like you're at the table while all of this is happening. But what comes along with that is it can breed a sense of familiarity that is very much one way.
Right.
You know, and this happens. Unfortunately, it happens a lot more to some of my female colleagues, but it happens to me also, where I'll get hit up and people will message me because to them they've spent 200 hours with Victor, but I'm like, but I don't know you, man. you know, like I don't mean to be rude, but and so a lot of times you'll say, people will say things that they might think is funny or playful, but comes across as overly familiar to a stranger. And people have higher and lower thresholds for that. You know, like some of my people, I'm not going to name anybody by name, that it's like, you know, if they kind of operate by a handle and you know their name, like they don't even want, like, don't call me by my actual name, you know, like you don't know me. Me, I'm way more flexible with that kind of stuff. Like it doesn't but I'm also like ultra extrovert. Like for me, my time of like maximum power is that moment in Comic-Con when you come out of the convention center and there's just people as far as you can see in every direction. It's just humanity. That's like Super Saiyan, you know, like electricity. That kind of stuff is what keeps me going. So that's
my
nightmare. You just watch as B Dave takes it all in, recharges, and then is like ready to carry on. Cool. That's pretty much how it goes. The opposite for me. I start to shrivel up, and I'm like, please get me away from all of these people.
Yeah, it definitely feels the opposite for me as well. Like it feels like each person that's within a certain vicinity of me, usually my eye line, it takes a small bit of energy away. Like they're just sapping me. But hey, we are happy to have extroverts like you to go tank things like that for us.
Yeah,
I mean, and that is what I'm designed to do. Like I was talking to Abria Iyengar, Quiddy, the other day, and like she's the same way, and like that's it. I'm just like, just put us out front, we'll soak it all. Yeah, like let's go.
When I was in another life, like before I got into this world, and I was like a different person, one of my like mentors would tell me that she viewed me as a performance extrovert. So like when I need to give speeches or be in front of large crowds or things like that, I can be on and friendly and like absorb it all. But then like at the end of the day, I need to melt quietly in my hotel room, like sobbing hysterically that I've been on for so many hours.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. I got a friend of mine who is a what's the word? They're the face of a major brand in this space, and same thing. They can do it. They can do it. And the moment the camera's off, it's like it. You know, not me. That time never comes.
Wake up till morning. Thank you.
I will run out of words eventually, but I make it a ways. Before.
And that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but that's okay. That's the, you know, there's nothing at all wrong with being introverted. There's nothing at all wrong with not being like go showbiz all the time, you know. And I think streaming lends itself to that, especially pending the game. Something like Vampire that is more subtle and is more reserved, I find is more accessible to introverted people, like especially over the course of the Patreon. This is something we went through a lot where I don't mean to say blossom because that sounds so colloquial. You always get that plot line of all the 80s movies of the wallflower learns to open up. It's like, no, not that. But I saw over time people become more comfortable in their own skin to be able to, play this role and be this person and be open and available, even if it's just with this group that we're playing right here, and just even be able to see that trajectory of being able to just something so simple as like, just, say what's on your mind. If you're happy about something, say it. If you're not happy, say it. To be able to like have powerful scenes with people, which I thought was really great. It was really good to see that happen over time, because the setting and the circumstances are more easily allowed for it, if that makes sense. I mean, you can play a subtle game of D&D.
You can?
Maybe, possibly.
Okay.
Yeah. But, all things being equal, it's high fantasy. It's heroics. It's kicking indoors and rolling initiative and throwing fireballs and, big stuff. Unless you're the rogue, and then you're like,
And then you forget to roll sneak attack damage when you're attacking. I'm not referring to anyone particular, but there was this moment in a game not too long ago where our rogue just didn't roll sneak attack the entire time. So you haven't rolled any of this? Okay.
Did I? Was this me? This wasn't me. We've never played together.
We've never played D&D together. But it was just one of those moments,
I know that very unique pain. So it's funny because I'm all Mr. Play your game your way, whatever you do to have fun. But you do need to have an agreement at the table of which game we're playing. Like, because you can do all the miniatures and like brass tacks, tactical Warhammer-ish play. You can do full theater of the mind. You can do comedy and slapstick. You can't do all of those things at the same time. And I had an experience recently where I did a game. It was a stream, and we were fighting and we were losing. One member of the group was already down. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want people to be able to figure out which one I'm talking about. But a member of the party was already down. We're all at like sub 50%. Like, by no means is it a foregone conclusion, like we're going to win this fight. And it came around to the next person, and they're like, I have my holy book. I throw my holy book at him. And it was like, what? And he's like, I'm mad. I want to throw the book at him. And he thought that was just the funniest thing. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, what? Like, what? But that to him, that was the game he was playing. It just wasn't the game the rest of us were playing.
We're like, we're dying. We need to figure out what to do next. It's real. Yeah.
Yeah, like your pithy move for the lulls. Maybe that's not the move right now. Maybe, and by maybe I mean absolutely, definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So zeros are important.
I think part of playing any particular game, like, is also, and I know, for new people, this is an exception, but like, you just know your freaking character, man. Nothing upsets me more than when I sit down to play, whether it's a one shot or a campaign or whatever, and we're like in it and you have no idea what your character can do.
Yeah, my niche is level 20. That's mostly what I do. And so I'm familiar with people kind of being overwhelmed with a lot of words on the sheet. But my thing is, I'm like, at least be looking ahead so that by the time I get to you, you've already put some thought into it. Like, that's not the moment where you go, yeah.
And like, if you're playing a barbarian, level 20 or level 2, you should be raging, right? Like, if you're in the middle of a battle, like, that should be something you do. And like, you might not know as a wizard every single detail of all of your spells, but like, you should probably be knowing whether it's a ranged attack, melee, whether it's AoE or like something. Please, just please.
Man, Rosie, please stop calling out the cast a critical role like this. It is just.
I mean, it is true. It's just, if absolutely nothing else, it's just to keep the game moving along.
Right.
I 100% agree. And what's wild.
I was gonna say, we had like, our paladin had gone down, and I'm the cleric in that group, so I'm like trying to keep our paladin alive because that's the only tank we have. No one else has picked a tank, of course. And then she goes, "Oh, I'm resistant to radiant damage," and I was just like, "I love you so much. Please stop." Or oh no, she was resistant to necrotic damage, and that was the damage that they were doing. And I was like, "Okay, please stand up now and please stop dying. I don't have that many spells."
Yep. That's true. Well, but again, I think that is sometimes, I mean, obviously that is just a certain type of player, but that is one of those things, again, D&D versus a more modern game, is that is a vastly different vocabulary to understand, resistance against radiant damage. I mean, in the world of darkness and vampire in particular, you've got powers, there's things you can do. But I mean, like there's an ability called celerity, which is super speed. And there, even in the book, next to celerity, there's a stat block that's like, how fast is fast? Because they expressly don't want it to be 30 feet of movement or whatever. And basically in the how fast is fast stat block, it's like, fast enough,
What do you need to escape from?
Yeah.
You probably can get away.
Yeah, you're that fast is more or less the answer. Yeah. And I mean, and a lot of that is too, it's some of it is game design, but I agree with you that it's, especially at lower level, especially if you've been doing it a while. I have a lot of front-loaded patience because again, I'm just so used to people like I've never done level 20, and it is a lot. It is a lot. Like you get a lot of stuff, but if there's multiple sessions and by 3 or 4 you still don't know, it's not cute anymore. Like it's no longer adorable. Yeah.
Yep. Our DM goes, I'm not reminding you any of the stuff your character can do at this point. We've been playing for like 8 months. So my DM's like, I'm going to not remind you what your characters can and can't do at this point. And I was like, I respect that.
Yeah, no, I don't, because especially at level 20, oftentimes I don't know either, especially like multi-classing. I'm like, there's a 0% chance I know what the 5 of you can do. I'm just going to present you with a challenge and, it goes where it goes type deal. Yeah, 100%. Well, it is true that it's like, again, different people are there to play a different game. Some of them are looking more for the role-playing interactivity and things like that, but your character's capability is all part of it. Like I'll give you a very different example. Back when I was like super into World of Warcraft and I was a raid leader, in WoW, I haven't played in a while, so this might have changed, but it's probably not that different. There were, at any given time, even though every class could have a different like spec setup of your skills, there always was a best one. Always. Like numerically, mathematically, demonstrably, this is better. This tank can take more punishment. This wizard can do more damage. This healer can do more healing. Always. And when you do the raids, especially when like the content was new, your margin of error was usually pretty narrow. Like you got to the point as the game went on, you leveled up, you got better gear. Like you go back and you can solo stuff that used to like 10 of you used to have to struggle with. But at least initially it is hard. And so I had run my raid team and it's like, hey, look, we're all going to run the top specs. And I had this one dude who was just like, that's just not fun for me. I don't like doing it that way. And because of that, his damage output is 10% less. And because it's 10% less, we all keep losing. And we're like, bro, I get that you're like, it's not fun for you the other way, but like losing repeatedly is not fun for the rest of us. And we all know it's because of you, Yeah, it is just, yeah.
We are all at our best, and you are purposefully choosing not to be.
And I'm like, yeah, man, to me, that's a very selfish way to approach things. And it's the same thing, that even if you don't have to make a super ultra optimized min-max character, you can do something for flavor, but just, be aware of what you're capable of. I'm 100% with you, 100%.
Yes.
I've run into the opposite problem a number of times as well. Like we'll have a session 0 and it's like, all right, this is going to be, imperfect characters and more RP and all this other stuff. And then we have like the guy show up who's like, I built the perfect whatever and I'm going to try to kill everything. And we're like, but that's not what we talked about doing though. And that's not fun. Okay, well, you killed the quest giver, asshole.
Yep. Again, that's everybody's got at the table has to have an understanding, and and there's always the trench coat katana dude. There's always that dude.
Yep. Horror stories. Well, Sean, we are at 45 minutes of chatting with B-Dave already, and this is usually the point where you tell us the rating system. Yeah, I'm pointing at you because you have a lot more monitors. And then we rate our tea and ask, I guess, B-Dave to rate his protein.
I mean, is there
Yeah.
a scale for the like headiness of the like shoe bottom bouquet that Rosie's described here? Because I feel like, and is a high number good or a low number good there of the licking the bottom of the shoe scale? Yeah, the Malurp scale.
So we have a scale. It's a star scale from 0 to 5, because we wanted that extra gradation. So 0 stars would be bad, would recommend against. 1 stars is fine, would not order, would drink to be polite. 2 is below average, would drink, wouldn't buy. 3 is good, would buy, but probably not preferred. 4 is great, will seek out again. And 5 is awesome, must keep on hand.
I'm pretty sure I know what she's going to give this tea. Let me see. I'll let you know if I'm right.
Okay. All right. Rosie, you want to go first so that we end on a high note?
Giving it this many. This is 0.
I thought you were going to give it a 1. I thought you were going to give it with drink to be polite because you've hit it a couple times. I've been watching. You've hit it a couple times. All right.
Still a ton in here.
Right. I thought I did think 1.
I kept trying it. I was like, maybe I don't. Here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't hate it. But
okay.
Again, if I was drinking like I don't drink like whiskeys or bourbons or anything, but I feel like if I was going for that flavor of like smoked, that would be where I would want it. Not in like a cup of tea.
Okay. Well, I mean, hey, that's
maybe
fair.
they're trying to provide that for the non-whiskey bourbon drinkers.
Sure. And if you like that flavor, this is your tea, not mine.
You're going with a 0.
Going with a 0.
Valid.
I'm taking notes so that we remember this later without having to scrub through an hour-long episode.
You are the best co-host.
I didn't actually take any notes on what you thought about it, just the number.
Oh, it's better than what we've been doing. So.
Yep. So I love this. I love it so much.
Good.
It's so good. I'm almost done, and I wish I had used a bigger cup. This is like a 4 or a 5. I think I'm going to put it in a 4. I don't think I need this every day in my life, but it's so close to a 5. It's so close to. I might upgrade later because generally after we do these recordings, I'll go back and have a pot with my my partner and my roommate. And depending on how that second cup comes out, maybe it's a 5. But I love it for like almost the exact same reasons that you don't. And I think you called it out before the stream that the Lapsang Souchong in here. I really enjoy that flavor. I've enjoyed that flavor for a long time. It reminds me of my time in China. But it's a very strong and very particular flavor. The smokiness of this is really appealing to me. So we'll get personal for a moment. I'll get personal and serious for just a moment. Is that all right? I know normally. B-Dave, you cool with this? All right. But isn't this like a white supremacy thing? Should we not?
Not when I do it.
There you go. Get personal.
Half of me shouldn't do this, I guess. So I think a lot of the audience knows that I'm a recovering alcoholic. I haven't drank in over 15 years. And this really scratches like an itch of not alcohol, but like that smoky flavor profile that is hard to find in a liquid outside of like a bourbon or a scotch. And so this is really nice for me in that like it isn't close enough that I'm worried that it's going to like cause a problem, but it is in the same kind of like family of smoky flavors. So this is excellent to me.
It's a club soda-esque experience where you're like, I can scratch the itch without backtracking.
Exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense. Very valid.
Thanks.
Very valid.
What about you, B-Dave? How's your protein shake?
I really like Kachava, man. Like you should hang on, wait. I don't know if that's gonna show up. Yeah, the Kachava superfood. It's a little pricey, but it's really great, and I feel great. And I there's chocolate and there's vanilla. I mix the two because the chocolate actually tastes like chocolate. It actually kind of tastes like a chocolate muffin. The vanilla tastes like oatmeal. So when you end up mixing the two, it kind of ends up sort of like chocolate oatmeal, but it's nice and it's got all this superfoods and stuff in it, and highly recommended.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Love it. B-Dave.
Yes.
I know you do a lot of things. Where do you want people to go on the internet to find some of the things you do?
Let me see here. Coming out soon, there's the Idle Champions Presents. We're doing probably by the time you hear this, we'll be starting the second arc. Let me put it to you like this. I'd say on the week of the 15th. On the 15th, the second arc of Idle Champions Presents starts. On the 16th, Heroes of the Plains starts, both of which have Freely in them, which is funny. On the 17th is an as of yet unannounced show is going to be starting. So follow me on the tweetagrams to find out about that. And then again on the 22nd, we're going to announce what the Black Dice Society is, and on the 1st, it's going to start. So I'm somewhere doing something 7 days a week. So just I don't expect you to keep up with it. I can barely keep up with it, and I'm there for all of it.
Beautiful. So Twitter is the best spot, and you'll retweet anything or share anything that you're doing. Beautiful.
Yep.
All right. Go to B-Dave's Twitter to keep up with all things B-Dave.
At B-Dave
What about you,
Walters.
Rosie?
Twitter is a good spot as well. That's Rosie_games. I'm getting into gear for stuff now because it's almost, even though it's not almost summer in my world, I'm already like planning summer camps and stuff. So let's just pretend it's summer. But yeah, Twitter's a great spot. And I think maybe by the time this airs, Sip Happens might have its own Twitter account. Ooh. So then you can see stuff on there. What about you, Sean?
I feel like I should plug something different, right? Like I plug the same thing every week, which is either at Sean Banerjee on Twitter or youtube.com/Sean Banerjee. But let's not mention those. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm. It's the most relevant place to find information about me. LinkedIn.com/ I have no idea how their naming system works.
Great.
That's as much plugging as I'm going to do for myself.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
Okay.
LinkedIn doesn't have vanity URLs. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think. Well, they
Hey,
did.
LinkedIn.
They might by now. Yeah.
LinkedIn, get in my DMs. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about a sponsorship.
Wow. Just going right there.
Shoot your shot.
B-Dave, thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
Thank you all for having me. I appreciate it. And like I said, when we're done here, I'll tell you what the Black Dice Society actually is. So
excited.
Mhm.
Thank you, audience, for hanging out with us and having tea with us. And we look forward to seeing you next week. And as we say on this show, Sip Happens.